one's mental illness and another one's professionalism. Remember, be polite, be efficient, have a plan killer for when you.
Well, given that I am a noble and I can in fact, write writs to my own wealth, I believe it would be possible to arrange to not pay anyone today, but for the money to come by later as not on a holiday.
I mean, you might be able to do that, but it's. I mean, that's the letter of the law is you can't transact money. The spirit. I mean,
that's the point
you
of
might
it.
be able to do it, but this is a baller move where they're trying to show off what they own. So I think it's pretty clever.
Drunk Physics, I think he's in the bathroom, just so you know.
But yeah, so I mean, I do have the means to letter of the law around this, right? Lessons.
I mean, you are a magistrate and you do know about the law. The question is more about social grace. Like Brother Vesper reminded us that it is in fact a baller move to have a party on essentially a Sunday. That if you don't already own at least a mount or a carriage, you would have to walk. You have to hoof it, and
right. So
the other thing
I
to do would be to get a move.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Where is this party taking place?
According to the invitation, it's taking place in literally a salon, which is salon is both the exhibiting, the sort of bringing together the party, but it's also a place in this case that is rented for such occasions. So not in her house. This is
a party room.
Yeah,
is this an area that is where I guess where the location of this rented?
Yeah,
place?
I mean, if I can make a suggestion here, the bathhouses that are on the map, those would have public receiving areas. That would be my first guess. But if they really wanted to show off, they might be renting something else.
Yeah, they're renting something else. It's a converted building in Old Town. Apparently was a home from a rich person, at least rich or even nobility, but for whatever reason they were back on their taxes and they lost the property. So now the city basically rents it out to the new rich so they can do things, and it's a sort of, if you don't own a palace, here's rent the palace place.
Rent a palace. My goodness.
Yeah. Or rent a home. Is it near water?
Yes.
No. This is into the city.
We can't just ride our boat up to the front.
Yeah.
Actually, that's kind of what I was thinking. That would be the power baller move there,
You fire off the cannon for my introduction.
It's also not near the river, which I know the
So yeah, I think it would be very easy to maybe procure this. So lessons, I think I might go around trying to do that and do the workaround because I know what to do.
You can't use nobility in this role, but you're going to have to make a roll because you're not a noble from here.
Exactly.
People recognize your heir nobility, but it's not the same thing. You're a foreigner, which means it's like,
Okay. And I would presume this is probably a mind negotiation roll or something, correct?
Yes.
All right, so let's start with mind negotiation. So we have 1d6, and what's my skill in it? Also a d6, so off to a good start. And I have the gift of diplomacy now.
If somebody wants to assist you, that might be.
I could.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have 2 dice in negotiation, but one is a D4.
I could hinder you by showing up and preaching about how blasphemous this is.
Would this be will or mine to assist?
This is mine. Will is not really going to work very well because it's more about finessing the using a loophole, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, could you give me money today so I can for a hamburger so I can, pay you on Tuesday kind of situation.
Yeah.
All right, that's good for a D8 from me. And this whole thing about giving them a writ of IOU sounds a lot like the Jewish loopholes on the Sabbath where they have like timers on their stoves that turn them on so they can cook dinner that day.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's a lot like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. So right now I have diplomacy. Makes sense. I have 1 assist, and you were saying I could use magistrate on this.
No. You're not a magistrate.
No.
You're not a noble. So I'm saying things you cannot use because
Okay.
you're a noble. People will recognize you here more as a foreign person who has money, but no legal authority.
Well, I mean, even we are of the same class, which is what nobility is also of. I understand how to interact with them, even if they maybe think differently of me.
Would wealth
Okay,
count as
let
an
me
influence gift?
Huh?
Would wealth count as an influence gift? Or does it only have to be exhausted?
Yeah, that's what I was going to go to next. There is also wealth involved. I do actually have the money.
Wealth would be the thing that would you actually would.
So I'll throw an extra D12 for wealth, and we'll just glide past nobility for now.
Yeah. Let me explain how kind of works, right? Unless you're you're a foreign noble, unless you're very rich and so like, oh, this is like a prince of Agrabah or something, right? You know, coming in and just showering everybody. Well, you're like, oh, this is an important person, but doesn't have any relevance because you don't have the way of saying, hey, you don't do this, I'll have you beheaded or something. Right?
This would be the point where Cosmopolitan would have been a good choice for me to say, I get to use this regardless of culture.
Yeah, I mean, as a foreign noble, they recognize your title and you're entitled to noble justice, like just jury of your peers and other collection. But we're dealing with capitalism right now, so.
And you're trying to
of Ironclaw.
Yeah, and also you're trying to subvert a religious practice as well.
That is true. All right, so with just wealth and negotiation then, and with the assist, I don't do too well, but I fall back on my training and my friend and a lot of money to make it all happen. With 3 successes.
Yeah, I mean, you not only have successes, you got actually some very good successes as well. You got a 12 as well, so you managed to impress them. So you got 3 successes. You get a good sized carriage, not the best, right? From a rental place, of course, so not like private carriages. But you know, actually the best ones would be like the open carriages, like royal style carriages, which are only like a half carriages. So they're so expensive that they don't even have like full enclosure.
Yeah,
so,
and I imagine even like
carriage,
for the amount of wealth I dumped into it here, I probably just have it for the rest of my stay too. So
yeah, and you get a driver. You get a driver, and they also promise that they will change the cursors every so often.
Well, you have to rent it for 2 days because you can't pay for it today.
Exactly.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Exactly.
Well, you
minimum
have
2,
at least for a week.
Yeah,
and they write us like
we'll get use out of it. There's no worries. Man, this reminds me. I gotta get one when I get home.
And so you go to this place. Who is going to go? Everybody going to go, or?
Yeah, I'm bringing everyone
to come pick me up because I'm going to spend the day reading the sacerdotal forbidden scriptures.
Yeah, so you're reading. I'll come by. I'll pick you up. I'm sure Spencer probably spends some time of the day, talking with his university people.
Oh yes.
I probably spend most of my day negotiating, I guess.
Now, actually, would be a good time for Theta to be here. But when they get back, I'm sure we'll hang around long enough so he can be here.
Okay.
So you get there.
I got my fancy clothes on and everything. I spent plenty of money on them.
Essentially, this is again an old, not a mansion, I suppose, that has been big. To take all the furniture has been taken out, etc. So anything that is here now, it's whatever it's brought for this particular salon.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing you notice is that there is a series of, I don't know if this is vase or vase. Some people say vase, some people say vase. I'll say vase because it sounds fancier. The first thing you notice is a series of large porcelain vase. In fact, you have to ask what it is because you don't know what porcelain is. And that's because it comes from somewhere else. They're beautiful, right? There's white vases with blue embroidery, right? I mean, you've seen clay pottery and some other things. They seem extremely fragile and beautiful. And there's basically like a row of them. And so people are sort of milling around. There's paintings and, all kinds of this is essentially like an art exhibit, right? And in the center, you see this very broad-shouldered and not middle-aged, I would say portly, even for a bovine, lady, which is sort of an entourage around her. She sort of walks around and points at different things, and people are, eating their hors d'oeuvres and sort of like wandering and doing, talking about this, and so you approach them. And how do you introduce yourself?
Good evening, my lady. It's a pleasure to meet you. I am Sir Gregory Varkin III, and it is a pleasure to meet you. I've come quite a long way to see your collection.
Oh yes, and she extends her hand, right, sort of being dainty.
Yeah, and dainty.
Of course, my manservant and something about a gentleman caller, as you call it. So I'm afraid it's not. As you can see, I'm a little past that age. Although you are very handsome. Maybe a decade ago, we could have.
Oh, but I could tell a woman like you, the people couldn't keep their hands off you, I'm sure.
That's also slimmer as well.
Oh my.
And you see a couple of chuckles and people around all these, and you get here.
Of course.
This group of people they're psychopaths. It's just they smell of, and I would say that you might see a minor noble here and there,
Mm-hmm.
but really most of them are again nouveau rich, right? People who want to aspire to nobility, but they have more money than they have titles. So
Right, of course.
and she's showing you different things. It's like, have you brought anything? No. Monsieur, have you brought anything from your British Isles? I hear they like a lot of wood carvings, stone things. I don't have access to many of those things, but and she goes to a corner and there's like a mantelpiece with a lot of the same little stone pieces, but none of them are in wood, right? They're not in cases of wood. They're actually sort of they have their own little, they're properly placed, right? And they have flowers and all that. And so it's called the pagan corner, right? And he turns to Brother Vesper. It's like, Monsieur Vesper, this is only a display. It is not for worship. We do not, of course, practice any pagan religions here. This is just an expression of the wonderful act from beyond our shores. And so she keeps walking and different things. People it's like, and they talk about the bosses, and it's like, oh yes, this is the new. I believe the term is China. I believe so porcelain things. I actually commissioned a tea set for it.
Ooh,
yeah,
quite marvelous.
With new tea sweeps, very expensive stuff, but marvelous. Well, I think be very careful. And when she said very careful, somebody sort of bumps it, and the servant goes like,
and everyone just like stops and knows, like, can hear how fragile it is.
Yeah, a servant goes like, puts their hands on it, it's like, but just keeps, stalling. It's like, be very careful. They break very easily. So, what brings you to my salon, monsieur?
Well, of course, matters of business. You see, I'm a bit of a collector myself, and there's a few curious pieces that I've been trying to hunt down, and to the last of my research of my scholars here, is perhaps likely that they ended up here. And so I had been hunting them down, but I don't suppose perhaps you're familiar with some of the druidic traditions of the Isles, in fact, that there are as of you have in the display keys, sort of prayer tablets. I believe some of them may have found their way here, and I think they might actually have great historical significance.
Oh. Well, I haven't come across anything more than these small things, but if I were to ever get my hands on them, I sure would have them in display. After all, it's not every day you get true artifacts from foreign shores. It's taking me a lot of money and resources to get these, and I would always get my hands on more.
Indeed.
And as she's talking, could you do an observation for me?
Of course.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we got observation. I believe that was just a D6.
And this one will also include nobility as well. Mind, observation, and nobility.
Okay. And I don't suppose she's a criminal. Or something criminal's going on.
It's not about her.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So I'm just rolling 2d6 plus a d12. Unless someone wants to assist that, that is one success.
Is somebody assisting?
But it's a negotiation?
Observation.
Observation, I don't have it, so I would probably spoil the roll.
Hey, Duncan to the rescue.
You said mind and observation?
Yes.
Okie dokie. That go through? I got 1 success, so you get a D8 from me.
Yep, 1 extra D8 nets me 2 successes. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Harmon, you notice this immediately, but we'll get to you in a moment because this is the best way to do this. As you're talking and you keep going, and she kind of provokes a little bit, like she's interested in what you're talking about, but she says she doesn't have any of them. You look, and there is a group. I mean, there's the sycophants, and there's other people looking at it. And across the hall here, you do see an equine. But what catches your eye, because it's unmistakable, even though is a mule and the other one is a horse, is the clear resemblance to Harmon. Except that this particular noble is clearly from the Isles, like the cut of his clothes and everything else, and a horse as opposed to a mule or a donkey. So it's there. And Harmon, even though you and your family are
dancing out the tunes.
Yeah.
That's what my family's like. My family be like that, yo.
Hello.
We all know Harmon just like breaks out in the song and dance on the regular, you know.
That's why I'm so quiet and reserved, because my family be like that.
Yeah, just the instant you open your mouth, you know, it's like you're just gonna come out with the sound of music.
Oh no, I'm like that. What's that little kid? The cartoon, the bald kid who opens his mouth. He's like bing bong.
I don't know, but
You mean like Gerald McBoing Boing?
Yeah, whatever. That's the one.
Yeah, you Harmon, you recognize one of your half-it siblings. He's standing there.
I know what?
Looking at one of your half-siblings.
Half siblings.
Yeah, on your father's side.
Snap.
Wow, the revelation threw Robert through a loop, and he had to go.
he already died laughing. Rip Robert, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, you might want to discuss exactly. You don't have, because of your parentage, you don't spend any time with your family, but from time to time you've had contacts, and you know who they are, right? And they know who you are. You know, nobody talks to each other, and he's there, right?
Well, I think I'll continue the fine tradition of not talking to one another.
Yeah, but Gregory, you notice the resemblance, right? It's the family resemblance, very strong family resemblance. And he turns around, looks in your direction, makes a face, like he basically sort of stepped on something, and turns back.
Interesting.
Which you know that even in the Isles, which in Calabrian they think of the nobility, they think of everything in the Isles as being coarse and underneath them, of course, or beneath them, I should say. English, second language. You're not supposed to show that kind of expression. You're supposed to be subtle in these ways. The fact that he just looked in your general direction and just made that face without hiding it, I mean, his displeasure is open for everybody to see. But he hasn't left. He's still looking at this painting or something or other. And so he's there. And she keeps talking, and you're having these conversations like, well, I could inquire about these tablets. I mean, if I could get a hold of them, how much do you think they're worth and stuff like that. You know, so
of course. Oh, that would be so gracious of you, lady. In fact, of the supply chain, who could possibly have such a thing? I hear maybe there's some people to the north who might have some sort of indication or inclinations like this. Maybe you know of some groups like that. And, I'll just keep talking for a little while until it's polite.
Well, she said, well, far from the north would be those wolves of the pagans who practice things of degrading nature, but I do not see the connection between the Isles and them, perhaps. Well, that would be fascinating if there would be a connection. But
it would be. You know, perhaps while I'm here, that would be a worthy thing to investigate. I wonder if perhaps there are similar traditions across the Isles. That would be a fascinating discovery, honestly. Though, some people don't give that stuff any merit at all. And I am, of course, a devout follower of some luminaire. I would never go so far as like entrench myself into deeper beliefs. But you the Isles have a more open relation with those traditions. We have festivals, we have parties, as anyone does. But and I'm sure everyone there would be excited to know that they have brethren.
Oh, although I hear that your people are very proud of their isolation. Is that correct?
This is true. There are people who want to keep to their own, such as it is.
And she sort of looks like, and she excuses herself, and she kind of moves on, right? And as you turn around, especially Robert, you see that this guy that everybody's pointing at, he's just made a beeline for where Gregory's at.
Yeah, as soon as the conversation ends, he's like, "I'm on it. Etiquette is on."
Yeah, and he sort of like, so what brings a magistrate so far from home?
Quick question lessons. I would know this person's name, wouldn't I?
Yes, you would. He goes by Ricard.
Sir Ricard, it's such a pleasure to see you all the way out here. What a strange coincidence of business. I'm having a jovial time myself, quite honestly.
And he emphasizes family business by me here. Never expected garbage to walk behind me. You keep interesting company, Sir Gregory. Someone who is a magistrate of the king.
Only the best company, honestly. I would do with none other.
Seems that we have very different definitions of what best.
So it would seem. But, I do understand what you mean. And there's no one else on this planet I would trust more than Harmon. Nor are there none stronger or more worthy of nobility than himself.
When you say Harmon, he literally tries not to look at Harmon's direction. Like, he's talking to you. It's like, there's the thing where people are like, yeah, whatever, right? I mean, he is trying to be subtle, but his disgust is so palpable that he's failing at every level, right?
Right, and here we're in the nobility paradox of he's besmirching a little bit of my honor with like these insults, and I'm defending myself right now. But he's not holding himself well together, is he?
Oh, no, not at all, no. Perhaps, if there's anything I can do for a magistrate of his highness, then perhaps I could take some time, from the family business. And when he says family, he kind of looks a little bit, just a tad of where Harmon is at, It's like acknowledging his existence and well, assist you in any way possible as a loyal citizen.
Of course, and of that I understand you have the highest honor. But you've been listening to the conversation, I presume.
Oh, I was staring at these trinkets. I heard that she also has a collection of fine weaponry, ancient weaponry, some bronze swords. I was interested in family. Always been champions of the realm. Today I'm in business for trade and whatnot.
I see.
I mean, now that you're talking to him, he is young, right? So even his voice sometimes breaks a little bit, but he passes up because he's very tall, right? It's like looking at a young Henry Cavill, doing his period pieces, right? Someone who's very tall and broad-shouldered, but clearly has a baby face, right? So he's based on something.
Yeah.
He probably is.
Actually,
probably even half a decade at least younger than Harmon, at least, maybe more.
Yeah, and I guess like a comparison to me, maybe just like half a decade, I guess, right?
Yeah. So the only thing, he passes by because of course he's noble and he's tall and he has those same features as Harmon does. But yeah, this is a kid who is clearly out of his element.
Well, I think maybe there is, but if you have such time away from your own business, there's There are interesting things that may have ended up here in Calabria. These tablets.
What about these tablets?
Well, I suppose more to the point of interest, maybe that you might be knowing about if you're here. It would appear maybe they could have been somewhere up north recently.
Oh, I haven't left the city. Most of my business is here.
I see.
Al-
But you
although
have no
now
connections towards the north.
Barely want to have any connections with Calabrians.
Hmm.
Such as it is, I'm tasked to carry the banner of our family to make transactions abroad. Fine, I was instructed by the best teachers in Calabrias, and so I've managed to win a small token of acceptance.
I
Should I
see.
say down?
Well, I suppose if there's one thing perhaps your teachers may not have said, you might want to just relax a little bit while you're here, I think. Shoulders
Sir,
are
may I
so
have-
tense, and your manner. I
Sir,
think
may I
maybe.
have a moment of your time in private?
Of course, of course.
I'm sure that
Well,
when you say that, he is expecting you to leave Harmon behind. But if Harmon, Harmon will say it because Harmon has to tell him otherwise.
Harmon is Harmon. Harmon will probably never leave. Unless he,
Yeah.
very, very much so, indicates absolutely alone, nobody else. That's what I presume he's trying to signal, right?
Yes, very much so.
Right, but you're my charge, so no.
Of course. And I understand. But Harmon, while we speak over here, could you just simply wait nearby? I understand your service.
Well, nearby is a relative term.
Well, as long as I don't inquire any further, nearby is enough.
I
And
would say
so we will
open
speak.
area. So when he goes private, he's going to be overheard unless somebody's either very good at hearing or hearing it. But you can see them, right? He's not going to take him to another.
Yeah,
room.
we
This is
just
a very
pull over
large
to
area.
a small corner by ourselves, basically.
I've been trying to raise this with the crown for some time. They have my police have been deaf ears. I've been trying to make connections here to bring more supplies, resources to them.
Noble
Let's be
task.
honest. It's also profitable. However, there's many voices here that, everybody tries to ignore the fact that there's a war practically next door. Everybody's it's betting on it. Different noble houses, major and minor, are trying to profit from it. If we could identify those who are in favor of the High Crown, at least want peace and prosperity, as opposed to those who think long term as opposed to short term, then perhaps that could be of help to us. Also, to weed out those who are feeding mercenaries and supplies to the usurper. And when you say usurper again, he makes the same face he made when he saw Harmon, right? It's the same face.
And of course, Gregory is smiling. He's this Richard here is obviously on top of things already, which is great to hear.
I have to identify some people, but I'm basically working by myself here. There's only much I can. But perhaps you could talk to them. You have influence as well, and as a magistrate, I suppose you work carry.
Indeed.
Here, I'm just a trader. My noble blood is not really much. My money is. When he says "or," he sort of trails off like he was going to say something else, but
yeah,
he doesn't. So there's that. But
see.
I'm sure that these tablets are taking your time. If you have need of me, well,
they are more valuable than I can say, is what I would say. Like you said, though, you are a trader. You at least know people who traffics and what, and perhaps even who these might end up in the hands of. If we know that, then we can go about our business, and you could leave maybe sweet talking some dear impressionable compatriots to me.
Yes. Well, what I've heard rumors is that Madame Bosch, this is not the entirety of her collection, if you know what.
Aha.
So perhaps she might be, well, someone to study further, or where she gets all this stuff. I mean,
Precisely.
Look around. This is not only expensive, but eclectic. It seems that she just hoards whatever will give her any sense of a position or authority to impress everyone else. She wants, of course, to be back in the good graces of the nobility. The Wallons, as I did, want to be there by the monarchs.
Right. There's no ill will in wishing to be well respected, of course. But if such is the way our investigation must go, I'm of course interested in knowing where exactly more things could come from. But you know the ins and out of that better than I do.
I will do my own. Like I said, I can only do so much. Perhaps I can introduce you to some people in due time.
That would be good.
Also, I'm loath to say this, but someone of your stature to be very, very careful. Even a blunt instrument can end up hurting he who wields it.
I understand. As always, discretion. Well, if you see my man Duncan over there, the one, yes, eating the hors d'oeuvres without the napkin, yes.
He chuckles.
If you speak to him about any connections you may find, I believe he'll know exactly what to do about it. And tell him that you are a friend of mine.
Does he have pen and paper?
For that, you may want to interact with Vesper over there and guide him to the same conversation. Yes, the one on his third drink.
The holy. Very well. Have a good evening. And he sort of saunters off, right? Mm-hmm. While he has a similar build to Harmon, and he claims to be of nobility, this is a guy who almost probably never picked up not even a fork in self-defense, let alone a sword or a knife.
Of course. He doesn't even have a bodyguard with him, does he?
Yeah, he doesn't.
Or an entourage at all? Jeez, he's just here alone.
What about the Great Gala Battle of 1974?
The family he comes from has a reputation from being at least an old martial family, right? You know, knights and all that from the olden days. These days, they're not doing so hot.
Right.
The fact they are. Last time we heard, they were actually without a patriarch.
Right, and the fact that Harmon's in my service right now is probably just even an indication of like, well, they probably dropped quite a fair bit.
But the fact that you don't know, Harmon, I think, has never discussed the specifics of that. Mm-hmm. But the fact that the fact that Harmon is a mule, and this part is he is an equine, a full equine. Well, not all.
I wonder what could have happened there.
What could have happened there, right? But yeah, Harmon has never discussed that I know of. At least never done it on the screen. I don't know if you've done it behind the scenes. That's between yourself. But yeah, he's clearly discusses that this is a clear violation of how can I say social moral rules, right? And that the missing patriarch might have something to do with it.
Right, of course.
Missing as disease, not missing as in somebody kidnapping him.
Yeah. Well, I guess as far as it goes, I've gotten what I want out of him. He's going to be working with us, and I guess for the time being, I'm still at a party and I'm gossiping and I'm making connections right now because I know I really need to do that now.
Yeah. He goes to Vesper and Duncan. Mm-hmm. And they start giving you a list of people, suspects you might think might be pro, or could be convinced to. They're pro peace and pro war, right? People who are benefiting, supporting the war for short term gain, but people who are like, no, peace is better. Better established. A peaceful and stable Isles is a much better place, at least in the long term, for negotiation. It just gives you a list of names. But yeah, every so often he sort of looks in your direction, and again, every time his eyes sort of pass over where Harmon is, somebody just came to him and vomited in his tunic, kind of situation. That's his face that he's in.
Man, that Gala War, 1974,
still haunts his mind to this day.
Didn't have an opportunity to pick up that fork.
And you can do a gossip. Do a gossip for me. So, and see what else can you extract from this little soiree.
Mm-hmm. My brain just stopped. Were you implying like a roll there? I'm sorry.
That would be a gossip. So we'll be mind, not will.
Okay.
Mind, gossip, and
all right. So
now that you have been introduced as a nobility, you could actually use your nobility. Remember, most of these people are not noble; they're new or rich. They're merchant class. So maybe you can sort of work that in, right?
Hey, I have real blood. I make you almost seem legitimate being around here, huh? Yeah.
Exactly.
So we got nobility. This is a party. Yeah, I love an assist. I need people to bounce my jokes off of.
I'm good at pretending.
Exactly.
But I don't assist.
Dang it. Well, you're there. That's fine.
I mean, I'm distracted by all this quiche. It's so delicious.
This is a party, so etiquette definitely applies.
Yes.
And in terms of this gossip, what is this
high class party? So etiquette.
Yeah, exactly. In terms of gossip, what is this going towards? Just like making the connections, letting people know, or like impressing upon them what's happening over there in my perspective?
You're more listening to extra information, right? Because as people sort of as the sycophants sort of start spreading around, right? And a couple of them they start talking about the things that she said, etc. It's more about trying to find out if there's more to this situation than first appears, right? By hearing people making comments about her prestation, etc.
So I'm listening in. Let's find out what I roll. 1, 2, 3 successes. That's pretty good with the assist.
Did you use my assist?
Yes, I did.
Excellent.
Okay. So, first thing you hear is that she is once again making another presentation to the crown to have her status as the Wallon's family as a minor house, as an independent minor house, to be accepted. And let me read you a little bit. I believe let's find where the Wallons are to give you. Also, you ask a couple of questions about I think why she wants to do that, right?
Yeah, of course.
And yes, the Wallons. The Wallons are a race of cattle who formerly were an independent house, but were conquered by the Dupois. I am saying that wrong, I know. And stripped of their title. To this day, the more well-to-do Wallons petition to be recognized by the crown. There's still back pressure from the people who conquered them, right? From Dupois. So they're like that might not carry on. Although in the land of Rinaldi's, that will be a bit. And the second thing you learn that she is expanding her trade connection, especially east to this land of jade that she has spoken of, which means many of the newer pieces are from that land, right? And in fact, she might be investing in how to recreate the secrets of making these vases. but she has been frustrated in that. Some teams say she has this like a small factory in which they're trying to recreate them, but can't get to do it. Everything that they try, it superficially looks and feels the same way, but it's clearly known as a fake, right? It's not perfect, or it just breaks down, or it doesn't cook right. So she's putting quite a bit of money behind that. And the third part is everybody's talking about the fact that even though this is an extensive collection, this is only the surface of the collection. She almost always has more pieces somewhere else. And everybody's interested in want to watch about these pieces. Especially when you inquired about pieces from the Isles. A lot of people's like, oh, perhaps she has more. I mean, sure, she has more than just a little tablets and stuff like that, right? She has to have more.
Of course.
And also surrounding inquiries about from where does she get her pieces, right? And the name that I mentioned earlier pops up, and that name is.
Are you talking about Louise?
Louis de Nouveau, yeah. Pops up as being one of her suppliers.
I see. And of course, Duncan didn't quite get anything out of him before, unfortunately, but,
But
maybe.
I did get us an appointment to see him tomorrow, if you're interested, sir.
Oh. Well, I mean, it is technically already tomorrow, so maybe that's our next appointment later.
Supposedly, he'll have an expert to check on my my jewelry, and perhaps you can maybe talk to him.
I think I'm suddenly very interested in meeting him.
They actually have this lovely jade snake statue, which I think might catch your eye, sir.
Oh, well. I hear jade is almost as beautiful as emerald.
A little lighter in the green, though. It's kind of smoky, but it looks good.
I see. Well, of course. So she gets most of her stuff from elsewhere, but she does have more stuff elsewhere. I'm going to assume she probably has that at her estate, maybe, or at the trade house. I mean, she is a trader. She does have warehouse space somewhere at the very least. So that probably wouldn't be too hard to identify or even ask. Oh yeah, she's going back to the nobility. How much property does she have? And someone's probably gonna just blurt that out and go, it's oh yeah, she owns all the docks down on this side or something.
Yeah. Her proper home. She has a home in. Oh no, you didn't do it. She has other properties.
Of course.
Your gossip roll wasn't that great. I mean, it was good. You got 3 successes, but no. So yeah.
Okay.
And of course, by the way, yeah, Rickard gave you a list of names. The other thing that we're discussing. So between Duncan and Vesper, you have that list. So that a couple of names, right? Which we'll talk about a little later. Unless you want to investigate that right now as well, that's entirely up to you. But yeah, that's basically and the end of the night comes. Everybody drinks are served, etc., and everybody's decide to go home. After that, and a lot of people are impressed with you. Your Gregory, right? Your manner, etc. There's a lot of what can only be described as innocent yet rude comments of what they did not expect someone from the Isles to be that erudite and well put together and well dressed and rich and all that. Right? Again, people from the Isles are seeing here as being beneath the people of Calambria, especially people of Transylvania. So they're it's oh, of course, we didn't mean to offend, but we expected far less than what you managed to deliver.
Right, of course, and I'm delivering them the true nobility of the Isles here, and showing them off. See, we're incredibly civilized, far more than those other savages over in Acoma. Have you heard about those people?
And sometimes they ask about things like expectations and other massacres, and when they do talk about the war as such as it is, it's almost exaggerated, massive massacres and bloodshed and ritualized combat, and so all kinds of. It's like trying to describe an entire continent, like the continent of Africa, after watching like 1930s Hollywood movies about the Dark Continent. That's the kind of thing you get out of it, right?
Right, of course. And I'm here with my wonderful verboseness to like put that at ease and say like, no, here's some of the battles that have happened that people already know about. Here's how this or this goes, you know. And I'm clearly clarifying things, and you know, as long as I get to keep talking and telling them about how great I am, I'm perfectly fine with that. But you said like the party was like slowly dismissing at this point, right?
Yeah, pretty much breaking down.
Okay, so I probably like will try to like make arrangements, talk to people later. There's the list over there, so I'm paying attention to a couple of people as Duncan brings them up, and otherwise, I think later tonight we have an appointment, don't we, Duncan?
I don't think they're open now.
Well, I guess then maybe this backtracks to like earlier today, or I don't know. That's a good question. Lessons. When was that appointment? Did Duncan just forget?
That would be you're in Sunday, right, Dimanche? So it would be the next day when they open the store. First of all, it would be closed because it's a religious day. With no money change hands, and second because you're already at the night of Sunday night, so the day has passed. They don't open at night. It will be the next day.
Okay, so it was going to be tomorrow anyway. So well, we have plenty of time. If people are still like up and drinking, I probably like go and drink with them for a little while longer. It's like, hey, not only am I civilized and sociable, I'm also a party animal. Hi, how are you doing? And I'm a lion. I do it through the night, and the next morning will come.
So next morning, I guess you wake up late because riding all night and being a nocturnal creature. It's
I just sleep in the evening.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to one of the prayer stones that I bought. Mm-hmm. I go to Harm and I say, "Thought you might want something."
I'm sorry, what were you?
He's so confused that I gave him a gift.
Harmon's been up all night as well. He must be tired. Don't.
Well, no, it's just I heard. Sorry, out of character for a second. You said you came to me with a rare stone and said I thought you would want something, and that's
the prayer stone. The prayer stone.
The rare stone.
Prayer.
Yes.
For what?
For what? Well, all right. I was in the shop. I bought 2 of those stones. Remember? And I actually bought. Okay, so I bought 2 of those stones. I thought maybe we can use one later for leverage or trade or something, but that didn't turn out. Second one, I kind of bought for you because I know how you act and operate, and I figured maybe a little bit of home might be helpful.
Another real quick out of character lean back here is, remember, I don't speak the language around here. Conversations you people are having with everybody, I am in the dark, just standing there listening for my name. So the things going on around me, I'm saying that when you're doing things and making offers with people and doing things back and forth, I have no idea what the hell you're doing. You're saying things and then suddenly people are giving you stones. I don't.
The purchase he made like far away from you in the first place. Don't worry about it. You didn't even see it.
Of course not.
By the way, example, Rickard did speak in the language of the Isles. That's an added layer of protection so somebody doesn't overhear. So if Harmon was close enough, he probably overheard every word that he says.
Also, just one more quick verification before I respond to you, Duncan. Prayer stones, is that something we use? I'm more used to poppets. No, seriously, I thought we used poppets. I thought poppets was our thing. I thought I had this little raggedy doll that I carried around with me sometimes that I just put my memories into and I try to save on the event of my death that it might carry on for me after I'm gone. Did I use a stone? Is that what I'm supposed to be doing? Have I been doing it wrong my whole life?
No, add it to the poppet then.
Yeah, your puppet thing is fine.
Yeah.
Usually when we're talking about prayer stones, and you remember way back when you were dealing with the Staffords, that they had these sort of large stones in their backyards and stuff like that with these symbols. And these are areas where people go to commune with the goddess. And so what most people tend to do is have a shrine in their home. It could be a large stone, it could be a smaller one, right? And these ones are tiny, so they can be put in like a mantelpiece. And they're usually surrounded with flowers and other signs of fertility and nature. Because that's the druids believe in the mother isles, right? But the owls themselves are alive and have a connection to those who live on it. That's part of the king. The land is the king of the land. Anyways, the king is the husband. In the old tradition, the king is the husband to the land, who is the lady, the goddess, right? And that has been denuded over years or decades with new religions, stuff like that. But still, that connection exists.
Right, but so often I am a soldier without a hearth, so...
Yeah. So maybe you can use the stone whenever you get a hearth. You can put it there.
Sure, or have the most expensive, needless puppet of all time.
Well, I think the puppet is fine.
Yeah. I just figured you might enjoy a little bit of home, that's all.
The man without a home. Being given a symbol of home.
Don't say that. You have the shack in the back of my place.
Well, that's great. I thought I'd been staying in your place, but now I live in the shack. The
He's
outhouse.
like the dog pound. He's in the dog house. Oh my god.
He lives in the Harry Potter hole.
Yeah.
I think even in character, that's just like fully a joke. It's like, of course he sleeps inside.
Alright, I guess just handing me this prayer stone, the rare prayer stone, I guess, thank you, Duncan.
No problem.
And I guess I just reach back into a pouch on my hip and slide it in. Probably a very small doll-shaped outline in it.
Yeah.
So, what? I'm a grown man walking around with a doll. You got a problem with that?
No, your sword tells us that we can't.
So there you have it.
All right.
So next day, you go to the shop. Duncan, the first thing you notice is, again, there's the cat attendant, the feline attendant, standing. Monsieur. Oh, signori. Come in. Okay,
hello.
Yes, the expert is here, or should be here shortly, to categorize your stones. Is that what you were trying to do? Yes?
Yes, I have several here that I would like him to take a look at for sure. Allow me to introduce, by the way, my associate, our Sir Gregory.
Hello there.
When
I've heard
sees
something
Gregory,
about you. Go ahead.
Yeah, he sees Gregory. He's like, "Oh, signore, welcome to our shop. Yes, to a humble establishment." He clearly is bound to the fact that he that Gregory smells like money.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Money back. That's
I'm
the
wearing
kind of reference.
Yeah, I'm wearing the rich clothes. You know, you gotta be nice to me.
Anybody else went? It's just three of you because Harmon's always there.
Of course.
Anyone else?
If you want Spencer there with you, he can certainly come.
Yes, actually. And Spencer, aside before we go, feel free to do whatever you think needs to be done if you think this person is hiding anything from us, because I want to get on top of this as quickly as possible.
But of course, sir.
And so, yeah, and moments later, sort of an old, another feline, an older gentleman comes in. It's like, so you requested my presence. Oh, yes, senor. Here's the gentleman, the signore with the stones. You want to have a look at them?
Yes, and I show
remember, this is the cat. This is the assistant.
I know. I was gonna ask, is Luis here today?
Oh no, Signore Luis, he's busy. He's on holiday.
Really? Holiday after the holiday?
Well, he took some days off.
Yeah. I guess you do that when you're on a holiday weekend.
Well, Demarche isn't a holiday. Demarche is just Sunday.
Well, I'm also a dirty foreigner. I don't know this.
True.
Well, what a shame.
Maybe we could just get it out of the cat then, while the other cat looks at the stones. And then what I was going to do, so you know, I was going to try and get rid of some of these jewels.
Yeah. I want to
Is that
imagine,
your
like,
play?
Gregory...
Is that your play? You gave me rocks? They're stolen rocks?
Yeah,
No,
I want to
didn't
imagine...
I actually bought those.
Gregory's like looking over them, going, "These look awfully like crown jewels for some reason."
No, they're not. They're not crown jewels. I believe they're actually. I think they're holy though.
Here's where they are all stolen, and I have to believe in Duncan's honor to the point where it kills me.
Yeah, so he's gonna make a roll.
What roll am I making?
No. The expert is making a roll.
Oh, the expert is okay.
Damn, it takes a while. And he says, "Oh, these are valuable. Yes. But yeah, you could get several hundred dinars for this, at least."
Oh, really? Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. You're welcome. And he sort of nods to the assistant and says, "Yeah, no, like, I guess they have some kind of arrangement, so they're not gonna change money right there. It'd be too gauche."
Yes.
So we all man leaves.
So now this is where we do the Pawn Stars thing, and I negotiate. No. So I go to the assistant. I say, "It's a shame that Sir Luis is not here. I would like to, however, sell these to you, and I would wonder if it is worth about that several hundred. With what I have here, would that be enough to maybe cover for the price that Sir Luis said a few days ago for the jade statue?"
Oh yes, I'm sure. And because he basically scribbled a figure, right? And he sort of looked at it, and he sort of brings it. And the statue is about yay big. And he puts it there. It's like, yeah, I could have a box for it.
Sure.
And sort of he takes the stones, right? He takes the rings, so like puts it aside, and he puts it in the box. Anything else?
Sir Gregory, did you have any questions you wanted to ask?
Oh yes, of course. I'm quite interested in some of the histories of these things. And my intent here is I'm going to start talking them up about, like, oh yes, this jade lion they just got, and this and that, with the intent of trying to weasel out who they're getting it from.
Yes.
And while he's doing that, I think the way thought reading sounds is you get like 5 minutes of useful truthful interrogation from somebody. So as soon as the topic of where these things are coming from is broached, then we'll do that with the mind reading.
Yeah. Well, then.
So here we go. And you know what? It's a new day. Damn it. If only I had clout. So I get surface thoughts at least, so if he's feeling guilty and actually thinks about it, then I might pick it up. But that's...
You got one more die you could roll for it, even.
Oh yeah, the flashback die. Thank you for reminding me.
I suggest you could flashback for this.
Yes. Once again, reading minds that are used to lying is very difficult, as you can see there. And especially forceful minds is very difficult, and learning to get between the chinks in mental armor is something that every cognoscenti is taught.
So I was sitting there thinking, like, here we are training. Now, I need you to read these minds. One person here has a knife. Stab. It was me the whole time. You should learn better.
Trust nobody, not even yourself.
That's a very harsh training regimen.
That's wizardry school. Tough but fair.
Damn. What wizard school did they go to?
So you got 2 successes. Memories 5 minutes, no. Truthful, no target, all influence, personality, careers known, plus 1 hour, and the worth of truth and negation. Yeah. What you get out of the situation is, first and foremost,